Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to today's edition of The Law and You. I am your host, yours truly, attorney at law Shellon, Washington, licensed in the state of New York and my home country, Guyana, and I'm also licensed in the Twin Island of Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome this afternoon, guys, and today we are going to be discussing a topic which I know is going to be of importance to some of you who are watching today. And I would like to remind you guys, for those of you who have been following my show, there's a library of older shows that you can go refer to if you're experiencing any legal issue that you think this firm might be of help to you. And as I said before, this program is usually brought to you by the Washington Law Firm, office located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. Guys, there's free consultation. So if you have a legal problem, any sort of issue that is related to the areas of practice that we do, you could just give us a call, 718-877-3100. Consultation is, as usually, it's free, no cost, free 15 minutes consultation. So guys, just go ahead and give the number a call. The number is across the screen there. And this program, The Law and You, is brought to you by my firm, Washington Law Firm. So today we'll be discussing, continuation of a topic in divorce, which I believe is relevant to a lot of people. I've discussed it before, and we're going to discuss it again today. For those of you who have been married, I know there are situations with people who've been married for some time. You've been married and you live in the state of New York. Maybe you've been married for decades now, I don't know. But this has happened a lot where people get into a marriage, they get involved in a marriage, and then the parties go their separate ways for whatever reason. I'm not going to speculate, and the reason for them separating is not of importance to me, but it's more important to them. But if you're in a situation where let's say you were married, and for some reason, it didn't work out. You and your spouse decided that you're going to go your separate ways. Your spouse maybe moved to Arizona or even moved back to their home country. And you're having a problem as to how to locate your spouse. You don't know where your spouse is. You can't locate your spouse. You've asked your friends, you've asked your family, and you're unable to locate that person. And you've gone to attorneys, and attorneys have told you that they can't help you because they don't know how to get you a divorce unless you're able to locate your spouse and to serve your spouse. As you know, in the state of New York, personal service is preferred over any other method of service. So if you can't find your spouse so that the process server will go and personally put the document in your spouse's hands, you're going to face a challenge because most of the attorneys that people have told me they've came in contact with do not understand the procedure for substituted service in the state of New York. Now, let's say your spouse, for instance, you're an American citizen and you marry somebody from a foreign country and the person was not legal in the United States. And for some reason, the person ended up just leaving and they vanished and you don't know where the person is. And the person, as far as you know, the person is illegal, don't have proper documentation to be present in the United States. And they're just illegally present here. and you're like, okay, I would like to divorce this person because I got married to this person here in the state of New York or somewhere in the United States. But at this point, the marriage didn't work out. The person left and they're gone. And you would like to divorce that person, but you're not sure how to go about doing that. I'm here to tell you that all is not lost, but there are ways into which you can go about getting that spouse served and getting your divorce, even though you don't know the whereabouts of the spouse, you don't have an address, you don't have a phone number, you don't have anything, and your friends and your family, you've asked everyone, and nobody seems to be able to tell you what is the whereabouts of that person. Now, the first thing you're going to have to do, if you're in that situation, I would advise you not to attempt to file the divorce pro se. And I've explained before what the term pro se mean, because some of you have been watching this show, and unlike Guyana's system doesn't permit too much for litigants to be able to represent themselves. And even if you attempted representation on on your own behalf, the system is so closed that it doesn't permit you give you the tools, the necessary tools to be able to maneuver the system and to be able to file things on your own without the help of an attorney. People have tried it. There are litigants who have succeeded with pro se representation in Guyana, but I feel like it's not wide, it's not broad. The scope of it is not broad enough as it is here in New York. In New York, we actually have a self-help center to allow people to go file things pro se, and they have people who understand the system that they can explain it to you so that they give you the correct forms and explain what you have to do so that you can try and attempt to do things on your own. But substituted service is not something that I would advise anyone to attempt to represent yourself pro se. There's a reason for that. Now, if you can't find your spouse, there are certain procedural steps that you have to first go through. Then you'll be able to get the substitute service. If you attempt it in the first instance, because let's say you file the divorce pro se, and you know that your spouse, the whereabouts of your spouse is unknown, right? You already know this. And you say to yourself, because I know, I'm just going to go straight and try to ask the court to give me substitute service and to get this person served some other method. Most likely you will fail because there are certain procedural aspect of it which is not known to everyone. So everybody's not going to be able to do it. Now, in the case of a litigant who is married to an illegal person, the person is not legally present in the United States. You're going to have to take some steps. Like, you're going to have to ask questions. You're going to try to contact people who knows this person. And if all of those methods fail and you can't find them, everyone said, we don't know, the person could be dead, they could be alive, we just don't know if they're going back to their home country. No one seems to know. Then the second step is you're going to do something that is called a skip trace search. Now, if you have not necessarily a social security number, because we really don't expect an illegal person who's illegally present in the United States to have a social security number, but you do expect that person is going to have a date of birth. So what you can do is take the date of birth and you can order a skip trace search on that person. You use that skip trace and you may be able to identify or, be able to locate the person on the skip trace. If the skip trace does not work, which sometimes it doesn't, it's not a guaranteed, right? If it doesn't work, then there's another procedure you can use to locate that person. If you're still not able, then the next step, you're going to file a motion. But in your motion, you're going to have to prepare what is called a fact affidavit to the court, explaining to the court all the steps you've taken to determine the whereabouts of that person. And then you're going to tell the judge, despite all your efforts, you were not able to locate that person. And therefore, you're asking the court to grant you an order permitting you to do substituted service. And the substituted service, if you don't have the phone, so you can't serve the person by the phone, you don't have any single opportunity to serve them anyway whatsoever, then the motion is the best way. And then the court is going to allow you to do service if you have Facebook, or you can use the newspaper. Some people do have Facebook, So they're not necessarily, you know, they don't have a phone. You might not know the phone number, but they probably have one, and they'll use it for Facebook. A lot of people are Facebook, different demographics, different age group. A lot of people have social media. So social media is a method you can ask the court for you to serve that person via their social media. If no social media, you can always revert to the newspaper. The newspaper is always a good method because it's public. And maybe somebody who knows the person might be reading the papers and say, "Oh, you know," but I most likely guarantee you that they're not going to see that in the newspaper, because chances are people these days don't really use the newspapers. Nobody really follow the newspapers anymore. So the most viable method that you know they're going to be served is probably social media. But some courts are reluctant to grant the social media setting, even though there's a case allowing you in the state of New York to use Facebook to serve a spouse. Not all judges are on par with that. So depending on the judge you get, the judge might say, you know, go use the papers, the newspapers advertising. They do it, I think, 3 or 4 consecutive weeks. And there's a cost associated with that. There's only I believe every county has its own court approved newspaper for publishing legal actions for service, for the purposes of serving it on a person. Because as you know, a lot of times people, they just move. Or sometimes, if you don't know, hopefully that's not the case. Your spouse could be dead, which we hope not, because if that's the case, then you don't need a divorce. The marriage is terminated on death. So most likely the spouse could have leave, or, you know, migrated somewhere else, and not remain in the state of New York. Sky, just as I continue here, I want to remind you that these programs are brought to you by Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. Every Saturday at 4 p.m. we bring you these editions. If there's anything you guys would like me to speak about on these programs, just send me a message and we will talk about it. I just shout out to Andres. I see Andres is there. Guys, and I want to encourage you, like and share, if you don't like and press the like button and share, it's not gonna guarantee that the program is gonna get to the right people. And every week we want to make sure that the right people are seeing my content, because there's so many people out there, believe it or not, that need a divorce, but they cannot find the spouse. They don't know where to look, where to find the spouse. And this content is for those people who are trying. They want a divorce, but they don't know how. And there's nobody that has been of help to them. So they're searching and they're looking and they're hoping. But when you like and share the content, hopefully the right people will see it. And then they'll be like, hey, wait a minute. I've been trying to divorce for the last 10 years and I couldn't find my spouse. So now I have the opportunity. I can contact the attorney's office and try to get it sorted out. You will be surprised. There are so many people. And another aspect of this, there's so many people who've separated, and now they've been separated for a number of years, and now they're looking to be able to divorce the spouse. I've come into contact with situations where there's a lot of people, they separated and not divorced because they don't want to have to split their retirement accounts. But the truth of the matter is, if you separate from your spouse, it's best to resolve your problem ASAP. I tell people all the time, you do not know if something happens to you, what that spouse would do. Because if you remain married to somebody that you're not in a relationship with, the law permits for that person to come and take your estate if you should die being married to that person. The spouse is entitled. The law is not going to turn them down. The law is not going to say, hey, wait a minute, you've been separated for 20 years from your spouse. You can't get their estate. The law doesn't care about that. Of course, there's a method that you can use, your family members can use to divorce that spouse. after you're dead, right? There's a method that your family can use in the state of New York to file a divorce after you died, so that your surviving spouse will not be able entitled to any assets that you left behind, right? They can do the divorce post death, after your death, but to do that post death, they'll need certain types of proof. And of course, you'll be making your family life difficult if you die and you leave an estate and you have some spouse somewhere out in the horizon just pops up and makes claims to your estate when it was never your intentions to leave that estate to that spouse that you've been separated from for more than 20 years. I see this happen so often, guys, so often. And I try to warn people about not staying married if you're not together. Don't be afraid of filing that divorce. A lot of people are fearful because they're, oh, I don't want to split my retirement account. Oh, I don't want to divide my assets. Oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. But think about it this way. You're fearful of those things. But if something should happen to you in the interim, or you, let's say you get a windfall, let's say you separated from your spouse 5 years down the road, you win some judgment that give you $4 million or even more. And after you win that $4 million, let's say about 2-3 years after that, something really bad happens to you. What happens to your estate? Do you think your children are going to be able to come and claim all of that estate? Or do you think your mother or whoever survives you that you really care for and you want those people to benefit from your estate, do you think they'll be able to come and claim the estate wholeheartedly? No. Chances are that spouse that you left behind is going to step right in to swoop up on their portion of that $4 million that you got, right? So you got to be careful, because you can't tell if, after you separated from that person, you might become a millionaire, and then if anything happens, that spouse is still legally entitled to make claims to your estate. And the only thing that can save your family, the only savior for them, is if they decide to file a divorce, you're post death, or if you're incapacitated, they can file that, try to get guardianship and try to file that divorce for you. So to avoid difficulties or to avoid issues, I would advise you guys, I would encourage you guys to just make sure at all times that you secure yourself with a divorce, secure yourself by making sure that your assets is safe, secure yourself by make sure you close a chapter in your life, like take care, handle your business. Guyanese people say, handle your business, take care of your business. Don't leave things hanging over your head, because you don't know what the future holds. All you know is that you can take steps now, take all the precaution now to ensure that whoever you care about, and if you become a millionaire or if you're already a millionaire, because I know some people might be listening that might already be a millionaire, you put your affairs in order. And if you separated from your spouse and you became a millionaire after you separated, you still don't need to be afraid, because the 10 years that you've been separated from, you will be able to, show the court that, listen, this person haven't contributed anything towards my success. We've been separated for 10 years. We live apart. This is my address. This is her address, or vice versa, for the past 10 years. And, she cannot claim any rights, title, or interest in my affairs, in my estate. You got to protect yourself. Another thing is, once people need to know that there's a cutoff date for your spouse to be able to claim anything that you are entitled to. The cutoff date is the date of the filing of your divorce. So let's say you file a divorce on January 2nd, and then you die on January 15. The person dies on January 15. The family can continue the divorce, and the spouse will not be able, anything that the person, let's say the person wins by some stroke of luck, win the lottery on January 5th. They win the lottery on January 5th. Their spouse will not be able to claim that money, because the cutoff date is the date of the filing of the divorce. Okay. Now, just make sure, guys, You understand that all is not lost if you are married to someone and you would like to divorce the person because you've been separated. You've been separated. And the person has gone their way and you've gone your way. You've moved on. And you need to, maybe you want to remarry. Maybe you found somebody else and you would like to remarry that person. In order to give yourself that ability to be able to marry again, you got to divorce because, bigamy is a crime and you don't want to be the one committing bigamy. You don't want to be the one engaging in a second marriage while you're still married to somebody. So don't just sit on your problems. Don't just sit on it. Just get up, call the number on the screen, 718-877-3100. Call the number, right? And we'll see how best we can get you that divorce from your spouse that you've been living apart from for so many years. Like I said, guys, people marry for various reasons. People could marry because they were in a legitimate marriage. Legitimate because that's the only time you should be divorcing. If you were engaged in a legitimate marriage, you might have fallen in love with somebody and you came to this country, you live in a foreign country, and the person filed a green card for you. The person petitioned the U.S. government to get you a green card. You lived with that person in that legitimate marriage for a number of years. And then afterwards, you two realize you're not compatible, right? And this compatibility thing happens a lot, believe it or not. I've seen so many people from foreign countries marry American citizens. You understand? Because they came to a foreign country and what was available for them romantically? Some American. So they married an American citizen, right? And then they realize like 4 or 5 years down the road that they're not compatible with each other. Because let's face it, you're coming from different cultural background. People have different desires, needs, wants. And a lot of times you marry people that might not always end up being compatible with you. You might be soft nature, you might be kind, and you might not understand the culture of somebody who is just brash and blunt and very arrogant. And it might not work. And it's okay. It's okay. Then you can just come and get that divorce filed and say, well, you know what? I married this person. It was for legitimate purposes. I went into that marriage in good faith. It didn't work out. And that is fine. You file the divorce and you move on with your life. And there's no stigma attached. Don't let people force you to believe that, oh, it's the end of the world if you have to divorce. It's not. It might be the beginning of good times for you because some people are stuck in some really bad, messed up situation and they would rather sit there because a church advised them that, oh, no, you shouldn't get divorced. The Bible is against divorcing. No, don't do that to yourself. Don't short yourself. Don't rob yourself by allowing people to tell you that a divorce is bad. Sometimes people are just not good for each other and they're toxic. Rather than being in a toxic situation, just call the number 718-877-3100 and get it over with. Get the divorce. Or, if it's a situation where it is not just it's not a compatibility issue, but you guys just separated. You just gone. She gone east, he's gone west. Just get the divorce because you never know. Tomorrow you might be a millionaire. You might struck gold, and if you do, you don't want somebody coming out of the blue, out of the wind, and saying, "Okay, you know what? I need my portion of your estate because now I see that you're a millionaire. I see that you became wealthy. I need what my portion of your estate should be." No. If you separated from somebody, they're gone, or you decided that the marriage is no longer viable, right? Move on, get the divorce going, and end the situation. Terminate it. I've advised you guys on earlier videos that you have other options like a separation agreement, and I always preach prenuptials. I preach that to people that that's the safe thing to do. Even if you're an immigrant coming to the United States, don't sell yourself short by thinking if you married an American, that American is much more valuable than you. No, do not short yourself. A lot of immigrants come to this country, and because they're hard workers and smart thinkers, they were able to build very successful businesses and became wealthy. So don't short yourself by thinking, oh, you're marrying an American, the person might be more marketable than you. Do not short yourself. A prenuptial is safe. You're protecting yourself, protecting your assets, protecting it to build generational wealth. Generational wealth is only built when you could keep the wealth in one place. Don't let people deceive you, because every time you have to split your assets, split it down the middle, you're reducing it. You're making it less available for the generation that follows you. But if you always consolidate and keep your assets in one place, keep it and just keep building and growing it, guess what? You'll be able to leave your legacy, your assets behind for those who will follow you. And even if you don't have children, you might be able to leave it to a niece or a nephew or somebody who can inherit it after you and make good use of it. Guys, don't forget, click the like button when you watch this video and share the button. Comment on the video, share the video so that the right people will be able to see this content. Guys, thank you for joining today's edition of The Law and You. I will be back again next week at 4 p.m. Saturday. So guys, join me every Saturday for The Law and You, and tell your friends, refer us to your friends, your neighbors, your family. Share the information so that the right people will be able to get this information. And if they're going through something similar or even need advice in something other than divorce, but it's relevant to the areas of law that we practice, give them the number, tell them to give us a call, 718-877-3100. Thank you guys, and I do hope that you guys will enjoy the rest of the weekend. And for those who are celebrating Martin Luther King Day on Monday, I want to wish you a happy Martin Luther King Day on Monday. And if you're staying home, I do hope you stay home and have a really great Monday. Or if you're working, for those people who are working on Martin Luther King Day, I still hope that you do have a great day on Monday. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. And thank you so much for the likes and the share. I appreciate all of you who have been supporting our business. Thank you so much. I do appreciate you. Thank you, guys. And do have a rest of your weekend. Thank you, and the rest. You guys stay safe and do enjoy the rest of the weekend. See you next week, same time.